The most dangerous thing you can be in front of the powerful is invisible. Fear doesn't ignore you by accident. It ignores you because you've made yourself easy to forget. The world does not reward shadows. It rewards presence. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. These words from Niccolo Machiavelli carry a timeless truth. Powerful people notice strength, not weakness. This is the law of human nature, written not in books, but in the very instincts of survival. From the courts of Renaissance princes to the boardrooms of modern empires, the eyes of power are trained to seek out those who carry themselves with certainty, presence, and resolve. Weakness, on the other hand, is invisible, like a whisper in a storm. Think about it. When you walk into a room before a single word leaves your mouth, people have already judged your stance, your gaze, your energy. They do not see your intentions. They see your strength, or your lack of it. Machiavelli himself wrote that men judge more by what they see than by what they feel. A powerful person, surrounded by flatterers and pretenders, is constantly filtering through the crowd, asking, who here is strong enough to matter? Who here will bend at the first sign of pressure? Who here can be ignored without consequence? Strength does not mean cruelty, nor does it always mean dominance. It means presence. It means carrying yourself with an inner certainty that cannot be cheaply shaken. Weakness, on the other hand, shows itself in hesitations, in nervous laughter, in the constant search for approval. It shows itself in words spoken too softly, or not spoken at all. To the powerful, weakness is a sign that you can be controlled, that you will not resist, that you will offer no challenge worth acknowledging. And so, you become invisible. Look at history. The figures remembered are not always the kindest, nor the most generous, but they are always those who radiated strength. Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon and rewrote the fate of Rome. Alexander the Great was scarcely more than a boy when he conquered empires, but his certainty made kings bow before him. Even in the modern world, the leaders, entrepreneurs, and icons who shape events are those who project an unshakable belief in themselves. Whether you admire them or despise them, they cannot be ignored, because strength announces itself like thunder. Weakness, however, hides in conformity. It masks itself in the hope of safety. Many believe that by being agreeable, quiet, and self-effacing, they will win favor. But to the powerful, this is camouflage, not character. They look past you because nothing about you commands their focus. If you want to be seen, you must risk standing out. You must carry a presence that says, I know my worth. I cannot be dismissed. Powerful people respect boundaries. They test those around them the way a blacksmith tests metal. If you bend too easily, you are discarded. If you hold firm, you are recognized. They do not need more shadows following them. They need figures who can stand their ground. Strength, then, is not optional. It is the ticket to visibility. But here is the secret. Strength is not only physical, nor even entirely external. True strength begins in the mind. It is the ability to master fear, to speak when silence is tempting, to endure discomfort without breaking. It is the discipline to know what you stand for, and the courage to stand for it, even if it costs you approval. It is the patience to observe and the sharpness to act at the right moment. This inner strength radiates outward, and the powerful notice it instantly. The weak think they must announce themselves loudly to be seen. They mistake noise for strength. But strength does not need to shout. It is in the steadiness of your gaze, the calm of your words, the certainty of your decisions. The powerful sense it the way animals sense a storm, unmistakable, undeniable, and once they notice, you are no longer invisible. Conformity and timidity often make you invisible, because they strip away the very qualities that make a person stand out in the eyes of others, especially in the eyes of the powerful. Conformity is the surrender of individuality. It is the decision to dissolve into the crowd, to take on the colors of the environment, to mirror the opinions, manners, and movements of those around you, until nothing unique remains. Timidity, its close companion, is the hesitation to assert oneself, the fear of drawing attention, the instinct to step back when life demands that you step forward. Together, these traits create a cloak of invisibility, not the magical kind, but the tragic kind, where you are present in body yet absent in influence. The powerful do not notice those who hide in sameness, because sameness has no weight, no edge, no spark. To conform is to believe that safety lies in blending in, that risk lies in standing apart. It is a seductive lie, because from childhood many are taught that approval is earned by fitting neatly into systems, obeying without question, and avoiding disruption. Schools reward those who quietly follow instructions more than those who challenge them. Workplaces often value obedience over originality, creating a culture where people fear to speak their minds. In societies where harmony is praised above truth, conformity is held up as a virtue. But the price is steep when everyone looks, dresses, and speaks the same. The individual is erased and only the collective remains. Those who conform may avoid criticism, but they also avoid recognition. The powerful, who are always searching for allies, challengers, or rivals of significance, cannot see those who are indistinguishable from the crowd. Timidity deepens this invisibility, for timidity is not only about silence, but about hesitation in every form. It is the refusal to seize opportunities, because they feel too risky. It is the soft voice that fades when it should rise. It is the nervous apology for existing, the constant self-editing to avoid offense, the tendency to wait for permission rather than take initiative. A timid person may be kind, may even be intelligent, but their presence rarely leaves an imprint. They disappear not because others intend to erase them, but because they erase themselves. The powerful instinctively test others for signs of courage and conviction. When they encounter timidity, they see not a potential partner, but someone too fragile to carry weight, too cautious to lead, too anxious to trust with responsibility. Thus the timid vanish from the calculations of the strong. Consider how history remembers people. Those who stood out for good or ill were rarely conformists. Socrates questioned the beliefs of his city, and though he was condemned, his voice still echoes. Centuries later, Galileo refused to silence his discoveries even under threat, and he is remembered as the father of modern science. Rosa Parks defied the conformity of unjust laws with a single act of quiet courage, and she became a symbol of freedom. These figures were not timid, and they were not eager to conform. They refused invisibility, and the world could not ignore them. Meanwhile, countless others who obeyed every rule, who never questioned, who blended seamlessly into their times, have vanished from memory. History does not record the timid, because timidity leaves no trace. Even in everyday life, the same pattern holds true. Think of a workplace meeting, where one person always agrees, nods, and never offers a distinct idea. They are polite, they are agreeable, but in the eyes of leadership, they may as well not exist. Then consider the person who speaks up, even imperfectly, who offers a perspective no one else dared to voice. That person is noticed, even if their idea is not adopted. The difference is presence. Conformity and timidity dim the light, while individuality and courage amplify it. The powerful are not inherently cruel for ignoring the timid and the conformists. They are simply guided by instinct. Power, whether political, social, or economic, is attracted to energy. It needs allies who can carry weight, who can push boundaries, who can endure storms. Conformists by their nature avoid friction. They are loyal to the status quo, which makes them predictable, but also disposable. Timid individuals avoid confrontation, which makes them safe to have around, but never indispensable. Power seeks those who are willing to rise above the mass, those who can handle pressure without breaking, those who are willing to take risks. Invisibility is not punished, it is ignored, which is perhaps the harsher fate. There is also a subtle danger in conformity and timidity that is rarely spoken of. They breed resentment. Those who conform often suppress their true thoughts, burying their individuality under layers of imitation. Over time, they feel unseen, unappreciated, even oppressed. The timid, too, often envy those who can speak boldly or act decisively. Yet instead of breaking free from these habits, they continue to play safe, hoping the world will one day notice their quiet sacrifices. But the world rarely does. Resentment grows, but it remains powerless, because resentment without action is invisible too. Breaking free from conformity and timidity requires a deliberate shift. It does not mean reckless rebellion, nor does it mean arrogance. It means reclaiming one's individuality with courage. It means daring to disagree when truth demands it. It means choosing authenticity over approval, even if that choice feels uncomfortable. Machiavelli understood this when he wrote that fortune favors the bold. Boldness is not always about aggression. It is about visibility. It is about saying, "Here I am, I cannot be ignored." True influence comes from confidence, independence, and calculated boldness, because these three qualities are the foundation of presence, the kind of presence that cannot be ignored, even by the most powerful. Confidence is the inner conviction that you are worthy of being heard, that your thoughts, your actions, and your very existence carry weight. Confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud, desperate, and fragile, always seeking validation. Confidence, on the other hand, is quiet strength. It does not need applause, because it draws its power from within. A confident person speaks with clarity, because they believe their words matter. They walk with purpose, because they are not apologizing for taking up space. They make decisions without trembling, because they trust their own judgment. The powerful notice confidence, because it mirrors their own nature. They live in a world where doubt is costly, where hesitation is punished, where only certainty leads. To lack confidence in such a world is to announce that you are not ready for responsibility, not prepared for command. But to carry yourself with confidence is to signal that you belong in the arena of influence, that you are not a follower clinging to approval, but a person who knows their value. Independence strengthens this confidence by anchoring it in self-reliance. A person who is independent is not easily swayed by flattery or intimidation. They do not beg for permission, nor do they collapse under disapproval. They can function without constant guidance, which makes them indispensable to the powerful. Dependence, by contrast, breeds invisibility. Those who rely too heavily on others for direction, resources, or validation become liabilities, not assets. Independence does not mean isolation. It means bringing something of your own to the table, something that is not borrowed, but created. It is the ability to stand upright, even if everyone else kneels. Powerful people respect independence, because it means strength. They know that the independent person cannot be easily bought or broken. Such a person holds value in themselves, and value commands attention. But confidence and independence alone are not enough. They must be sharpened by calculated boldness. Boldness is what separates the noticed from the forgotten, the remembered from the erased. To be bold is to take risks, but not foolishly. Recklessness destroys as easily as timidity hides. Machiavelli understood this balance when he wrote that fortune favors the bold. But fortune favors not blind boldness. It favors the kind that is timed, deliberate, and precise. Calculated boldness is the courage to speak when silence would be safer, but also the wisdom to hold back when patience is more powerful. It is the willingness to step onto the battlefield of life, knowing you may bleed, but knowing also that the prize of visibility is worth the danger. Think of the moments in history where influence was born not from caution, but from boldness. Winston Churchill's voice during the darkest hours of war was boldness, given form, unshaken even as his nation stood on the brink of ruin. Martin Luther King Jr. did not conform to timidity. He marched, he spoke, he dreamed in public, knowing the risk. His influence endures, because he was bold enough to stand where others trembled. Even in business, those who shape industries, visionaries like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, did not play safe. They combined confidence in their vision, independence from popular opinion, and boldness in execution. They risked ridicule, loss, and failure, yet their influence became undeniable. The powerful are not drawn to those who hide, who wait endlessly for perfect timing, or who dilute themselves for acceptance. They are drawn to those who show strength through confidence, reliability through independence, and daring through boldness. To lack these traits is to blend into the mass of people who are too afraid to risk being wrong. But the truth is that influence is not built by being right all the time. It is built by having the courage to act when others freeze. Even failure, if carried with confidence and resilience, earns respect. Hesitation earns nothing but silence. What makes calculated boldness so magnetic is that it demonstrates mastery over fear. Everyone feels fear, but few learn to wield it rather than surrender to it. When a person acts boldly, others sense that they are witnessing someone who refuses to be ruled by weakness. That defiance of fear creates gravity, a pull that draws attention, whether willingly or unwillingly. Confidence is the foundation, independence is the armor, and boldness is the spear. Together they form a figure who cannot be ignored. Yet the path to these traits is not easy. Confidence must be built through action, by facing discomfort again and again until the self is hardened by experience. Independence must be forged by resisting the urge to lean too heavily on others, by cultivating skills, knowledge, and resilience that make you self-sufficient.